Well, I'm from Louisiana in the United States originally, and he's from San Diego.
Yeah, I grew up in San Diego and met her when I was a lot younger, way back in my military days,
Yeah,
and went to Louisiana and met this. Uh,
this
this trying to think of a Louisiana word for like a belle, here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where she
Yeah.
was from. We met. We got married fairly quickly, and
hmm
here we are. What, 29 years later?
29 tomorrow.
When I met her, she was not wanting to stay in Louisiana, which was a selling point because had she wanted to stay there, we wouldn't be together.
Well, he actually, being in the military, he was going abroad to Germany, went to Bahrain.
Yeah. When I was younger, I had I had the opportunities to go to Korea, Germany. And when I was stationed in Germany, I got to a lot of different places. And when I came back to uh, the United States and got married, I wanted to share experiences
I'm just going to turn the
with
AC
with
on.
Julie as far as travel was concerned. And I miss the cafe culture and the um, type of lifestyle that Europe had to offer. And once I introduced it to Julie, she kind of understood it. And then we also wanted to uh, look at retiring early. And Julie would also get upset with me at that point when I would mention this, like back in 2009 and 10, that I'm talking like an old man. I'm too early to be talking about retiring. And um, so I kept pressing those buttons and talking about going to different places. And initially, we were looking at maybe once I got her on board, we were looking for one country we can both agree on. And we kept having differences. She likes mountains, cold weather, serenity, tranquility. I like hustle, bustle. I like the beach. I like the sunshine.
We're polar
Yeah,
opposites.
and so we couldn't find a place to agree on. So we decided after making many trips to look at different countries as potential long-term places to stay that we couldn't agree on any place, so that we would just kind of decided we'd retire everywhere and travel.
So we chose
And
them all, is what we
yeah,
always say. We chose them all.
yes, we chose everywhere. And so we Montenegro in 2016 was a middle ground type of place. It had beaches, it had uh, the coast, it had restaurants, it had a cafe culture that we like so much about Europe, and it had the mountains and cooler weather for Julie, and it gave us a place that at that point we had as an idea for a home base. And as we understood at that time, if we had a home in Montenegro, you could get residency and have the ability to travel 6 months out of the year. But since that point, they changed the rules a bit that as you can get residency with home ownership, but you have to more or less be here for 11 months out of the year unless you have a reason to leave for an extra month. So we never decided to do the home ownership residency and just decided, okay, we could just shuffle in and out. And so that's been the reason that we haven't done residency at this point. It's just because we still have places to go, things to see, and
But we started scouting in 2008. We looked at where we were going to head out to, and we went to Panama. And from there, we went to Europe. We did just Italy at that point in time in 2010.
so scrub what I said in 2009. So when did I start talking about retiring?
2006 or 7.
Okay.
And then with after that, 2012, we took on Europe and did 9 countries in 3 weeks and fell in love. I said at that point in time, wow, I don't think anything's going to beat Europe. And so we said, we still have to see Asia. So we went to the Philippines, Korea, and Taiwan, fell in love with Taiwan. In 2016, we said, Europe is our thing and we need to buy and we need to find where we want to buy. And so I started doing a ton of research. I had fallen in love with Montenegro from 2013, I had seen some stuff on it. And I mean, I was always on the computer doing something. So I had told him about it. We started looking at it. He's like, I know where that is in Europe. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
And then in 2016, we decided we're definitely going to buy something in Europe. Let's start really thinking about this. And we found the residency option with them. And we flew here in September 2016, bought pretty much in 4 days.
It was one of these things that we knew really quickly. We came here with the idea that there was a 50% chance that maybe we would come and buy something in 2016. We were ready to buy, but we weren't saying we were going to commit.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure it was for us, but we got to Montenegro and it really, it surpassed our expectations. The places we saw, the exploration we did, but very, very quickly, we became enamored with the old town of Kotor and the people here. And coming from our American goggles, it was like, this is a fairy tale wonderland there in Kotor.
And we put 9 offers in.
Yeah,
And
we did so what we did is we looked at probably
30.
maybe 30 properties. And so what we did is we put them in an order. Julie and I, we said, okay, this is our top, and we had a whole lot of negotiation trying to figure out our top properties. But we decided we were going to basically do like a speed dating. And we told our realtor, this is our number one choice. This is what we're willing to offer. See if they'll take it. And if they say no, we're moving on. And that basically we need an answer like in 2 hours. And so it was
I'm sure she loved this.
Yeah, so they called the first one, and we had a deal arranged on that one. They were ready to go with, and so within 24 hours, we had some paperwork in front of us. And then the person says, "Oh, but it's going to cost you extra for the kitchen."
9,000 extra.
So we're like, "No, we'll take it with the kitchen, and if not, we're moving on." It's like, "No, we spent this much for the kitchen. We want the kitchen." I said, "Okay, well, thank you, goodbye." And so we went to the next property, and that one committed, and we bought that one in the old town of Kotor.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, no one in the United States, anybody I would talk to, they thought I was talking about Jamaica. It's like, are you going to Jamaica? No, I'm going to Montenegro, near Croatia, near Albania. Where?
We have educated many people about where Montenegro is since 2016.
Oh, so. Yeah. And in 2013, I mean, if I mentioned it to anybody or I looked it up, that it was just a rarity. I mean, there was no one looking at it. And then in 2014, I saw it on HGTV International, I think, their international home search. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's that country.
I really have no idea how many people we have actually influenced into buying within Montenegro.
I could say we knew about it before Nomad Capitalist.
Yeah, we were, we've had a lot of people come here because of us and end up buying through our YouTube channel. So we've done a lot of education on what life is like here. And so I feel like we've had a pretty good impact, but we've seen the demographics of the expat community evolve, where it was predominantly Russian. It still has a whole lot of Russians, don't get me wrong, but there's a very international expat community here from all over Europe and all over the world. And it's really, the Russians kind of stick to themselves, but everybody else kind of gets together. So you have like the Germans, the Brits, and the people from the UK and
South Africa. There's a huge community.
Yeah, Americas. It's all kind of a big international community in French, and English is more or less the bridge language for everybody. Yeah, but the Russians are probably still the largest group of foreigners here, but as far as one single country. But I would almost guess that the rest of the foreigner group is almost making up an equal portion, especially in this area where there's more Western expats around the Kotor Bay area than there are Russians. And the Russians, I think, predominantly are still the majority down in the Budva area. But you still have a large other international expat community that's developed down there and going
Yeah.
down towards Bar.
And then Herceg-Novi is more of your UK. For
Yeah.
some reason, they gravitated
Oh,
there.
really?
It's because of Dubrovnik being such an easy airport right there. And before Tivat's airport became bigger and bringing in more UK flights, it was a lot easier for them to just come in through Dubrovnik.
Mhm. Yeah, the Tivat has brought in has a lot more cheap flights coming from the UK than they used to.
Oh, by far, even in the last year.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
yeah, it used to be very expensive to fly in and out of Tivat, and now there's some cheap EasyJet flights.
Our neighbor comes from Surrey, and I think he's getting flights for like 40, 50. And I think our upstairs neighbor, she said somewhere around the same price, EasyJet.
Yeah, I think what we would say is we were doing the Schengen shuffle, so to speak, where you go into Schengen, but we found that we weren't really using all of our 90 days in Schengen. We were going to Turkey, we were going to Serbia. There were other places that interested us, and so we've kind of shifted our whole slant to where we're kind of doing the shuffle, but we're just doing Montenegro at this point. That Montenegro's are 90 days, and then we go to somewhere else for 90 days.
Mhm.
And so, but we're going to probably evolve that a little bit to where maybe we're going to do 6 or 7 months here once we have a corporation, where we might come in here for 3.5, 4 months, or leave when we want to leave, and then come back when we want to come back,
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
saying these 3 months all the time we have to be out, these 3 months we have to be in.
We'll see. There's so many places we love, so it's really hard for us to nail down and stay somewhere.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, that we both want to be kind of omnipresent, and that in a way we get homesick for so many places. And it's not that, and it's not like, well, we need to be back in the States, but it's different parts of the world. It's like we've made friends because we slow
Mhm.
travel. We go places, we spend a month or two somewhere, we develop roots, we get to know places,
Mhm.
and we start to miss things about places. And so we talk about how great it would be to be here at different times of the year to see our friends and do different things here at the community we built here. But then we also say we still need to go back here and see these people, or we have to go over to this country and
Yep.
see these people. And so I think it's hard for us to just think of staying in one place for the 11 months like
Oh, I couldn't do it.
like
I'm not
would
ready for
be
that.
required here in Machi.
Yeah.
But we love Monty, and from the standpoint of it checks a lot of our boxes. And if we could only be in one country in Europe, I think Julie and I could probably agree that this would be where we would stay. But there's just so many places still to see and people to hang out with, and I don't know, adventures to be had.
Mhm.
47, 45
Mhm.
for me, 45 for her. Yeah, we're not trying to really just check off every box
No.
like some, get some of these fast travelers that are trying to do like 2 days here, 2 days there, and try to get to every country in the world as fast as they can, or get to 100 countries, or have those goals. We just want to see places, and we'll go as we go when we get there. We're not about trying to go there for 2 or 3 days, but
Oh, no.
we want to go somewhere and unload and hang out for a month.
Yeah.
And
We
more.
truly live in a place. So we're
Yeah.
slow travelers to the actual words, where a lot of these people are saying, oh, we're slow travelers. You're not a slow traveler if you're going in and you're staying a week or less somewhere, even 2 weeks or less, really. Because
It's still in tourist mode.
Yeah.
You're not getting time to get to know your local bakers and shopkeepers, and
Mhm.
you're not making friends. I mean, you're there just to see sights and go, and not really integrate. And the thing is, the when we say we've been to 47 or 45 countries, we've actually spent quality time in
Yep.
these countries, versus just being there as quick weekend getaways.
Yeah, when we were in Ecuador, South America, we got stuck there for 9.5
Yeah,
months.
we had a whole South America plan when we retired in March of 2020. We had the entire continent mapped out. We were going to start in Ecuador, loop our way all the way around to Colombia, and then head to Europe. And that was going to be like a 1.5 year plan.
Yep.
and we got to Ecuador and started COVID, where we ended up more or less spending 9.5 months in Ecuador, and no place else was open, and we had to leave Ecuador. State of emergency was over. We never had residency there, so we were there as just long-term tourists, but we kept getting extended because there was nobody working. But we had time to explore volcanoes, check out the Amazon rainforest. We did so many things, had met great people. But when it was time to leave, Serbia was the country that was open that we could fly to. So we went from Ecuador for a quick stop in the US, and then out of the US to Serbia in January of 2021. And we've been basically in Europe ever since with, just a one quick trip for you back to the States for Christmas last year.
And I had been to Serbia in 2017, so I already knew about it. I loved Serbia, which again, Americans were like, "You're going where? Why? Are you crazy?"
Serbia, Julie, well, I influenced Julie on learning about traveling and learning to love travel. She twisted my arm to go to a couple countries I didn't think I wanted to go to, didn't think I would like to go to. So Serbia and Turkey. I had no wants or desires. They were so far down on my list of places that I had to go to.
And now they're favorites.
I love Serbia. We've done, I don't know how many videos on Serbia.
Yep.
And I love Novi Sad, the little city of Novi Sad especially. And then our Antalya, well, I should say the entire country of Turkey.
Yeah.
I expected like a Liam Neeson movie, Dusty, Dirty. I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Bahrain, and in my brain, Turkey was going to be a lot like those countries. And I, had really low expectations. And we got to Turkey and loved it. Loved Istanbul, loved Antalya, Turkey, Fethiye, Alanya, Kaşya. But Antalya, I think, is our favorite location there, and we've been back a few times. Great location for the winter. Definitely surpasses our experiences in the southern part of Portugal or Spain or Sicily for the summertime or the winter time. I mean,
we gave Sicily a hard, long shot this last winter. It just
it
didn't go as well as we hoped.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was good there, but it didn't have the charm that just Americans are gonna think, oh, going to southern Portugal, southern Spain, or southern Italy would be the dream place, but it was okay. But we really liked Antalya, Turkey much better.
Oh yeah.
And I would have never thought I would say that.
No.
I really
we get eye rolls like, huh? What?
Unless they're seasoned travelers, but yeah.
When we went there, one of the things with Warren, he kept telling me, look, we have dogs. We can't bring these dogs here. Are you crazy? This is a Muslim country. And I said, listen, I'm going to get on Facebook and I'm going to find out from Istanbul expats. Can I bring my dogs to cafes, maybe not inside, but just to the terrace or whatever? And I could not believe, overwhelmingly, I had people going, oh my gosh, you can bring them in here. Why didn't I still was like, all right, hesitant to tell him that, but we got to Istanbul, it's snowing. It was in it was December, or actually November. And we got inside or went to this cafe. This elderly man's outside and it's cold. I mean,
November
it's quite
2021.
cold. Yeah, this was November 2021. And we just kind of asked him, or we were looking at the menu and, we're like, can we sit here? And he's like, no, come inside. Come inside.
While we have our dogs.
While we have our dogs with us.
But that was commonplace.
It was.
We have been welcomed into restaurants so often with our dogs. Most dog-friendly country that we have traveled to.
Honestly, we're told no more here by far than there.
Yeah. Turkey, you got like probably a 75% acceptance rate of coming inside the
restaurants, cafes.
I mean, even some of the higher ones. I mean, restaurants I would not even think about asking to bring my dogs
white
into.
tablecloths.
Come in, and it's been very eye-opening.
Yeah, and they're the most kind people in the world. I love the Turkish people. I love going there. I want to go again this
Yeah.
winter, but it's so far for us as far as by car. So we have to think about
Right.
it.
If there's any questions you have, just
Yeah.
feel free to let us know. But yeah, just in a nutshell, we love Montenegro. It checks a whole lot of boxes for us, from cost of living to the mountains to the sea.
Yeah, it was our version of California because we lived in California and we loved California very much. And so, we had our sea and we had our mountains there. And I mean, literally, what state can you go to hardly that you can do 2 hours up from your house and be in snow, and then 2.5 from your house, the other way you go and you're at the sea. So that was kind of the same
Yeah,
here.
so she's trying to explain San Diego County. I grew up there.
Yeah.
You could be at the beach in the springtime and still drive up in the mountains and go be in the snow in 3 hours.
Yep.